Thank you, Tom. There are lots of those stories, especially about crossing on private property. He always told me, there's on the other side of the no trespassing sign, it doesn't say anything. Cathy Fowler is here. Oh.
Hi everyone. I'm a Sierra Club leader, and Patrick was my mentor and a cherished friend. About 2 years ago, I interviewed him for an article in Inside Outings, the Sierra Club newsletter for leaders. And I want to read just a couple of excerpts from this article. An article, by the way, he loved. A lot of this article is just simply his voice. I took it verbatim from what he told me in the interview. And this is a more serious side of Patrick. There were many reasons why at age 22 I wanted to immigrate to America. I had lived in England since 1948, and most of my formative years were spent growing up in a working-class environment in London. I spent 3 years in the British Army and saw active service on Cyprus in the late 50s. I actually considered myself more English than Irish, but in this I was gravely mistaken. I would never be English. It was made abundantly clear to me as I progressed into young manhood and the working world that I would always be a, quote, ignorant Irish pig. Being called this was degrading and humiliating and filled every working-class Irishman trying to make a living in England with a profound sense of shame and inferiority. Because deep down, we believed it was true. If hell froze over, I might get used to being called an Irish pig. But in the meantime, I seethed with rage. And then I, the author, wrote, for a young immigrant Irishman with minimal resources, it would have been natural for him to see his options as limited. Instead, in his indomitable way, Patrick embraced the unknown future with hope, optimism, and boundless energy. He rented a room in San Francisco, got a job, and began to make friends. One day, having seen Mount Tam in the distance, he decided to visit. He took the Greyhound to Mill Valley and walked up the mountain in his street shoes. The experience proved life-changing. Quote, the mountain was so beautiful, I had an epiphany. I felt like I had come home. I was so moved, I actually cried. I missed the last bus to San Francisco that day and walked back across the Golden Gate Bridge. In 2006, Patrick underwent cancer surgery. Although he was out hiking and backpacking within a few months of leaving the hospital, he complained about being too slow. In 2008, when we sat down for this interview, he had just returned from a 45-mile backpack trip in the Ventana Wilderness and again voiced frustration at his reduced stamina. When I suggested he give himself a break, he made clear that that path, the path of easy excuses, was out of the question. Still, at the age of 72, with 3 major surgeries behind him, Patrick slowed down and grew introspective. And then these are his words. One aspect of my life in America has remained consistent. From the beginning, people here respected me. At first, I couldn't understand this. I thought they were being gullible. Didn't they realize I was just an ignorant Irish pig? It took me many years to learn the truth. I was never that person, and never would be. Instead, I was respected and able to make positive contributions, both to my own life and to others. In the past 30 years, I have done a lot of walking and looking and listening and thinking. I've made a lot of mistakes, but learned from them. I also made some sound decisions that set the course of my life on new and unpredictable trajectories that have resulted in a degree of personal growth beyond my wildest expectations. I'm so glad I've had this life I've lived. I have absolutely no regrets. It was a lucky accident I found the Sierra Club and walked up Mount Tam in my street shoes. It's been just grand. A great ride. Goodbye, dear Patrick. Rest in peace.